Trump's got absolutely no deference for anybody who isn't paying him. And why would the pontiff be any different?
My message, the message of the gospel, blessed are the peacemakers. I do not look at my role as being political, politician. I don't want to get into a debate with him. I don't think that the message of the gospel is meant to be abused in the way that some people are doing. And I will continue to speak out loudly against war.
And they're going to go back filled up with oil.
Why did you attack Pope Leo on Truth Social?
I don't think he's doing a very good job. He likes crime, I guess. He hit us. Think of it. He's worried about fear. What about the fear when the ministers and the priests and all of those great people that were arrested during COVID, and in many cases they're outside 10 feet apart, and they were arrested. So we don't like it. We don't like a pope that's going to say that it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime. He's a man that doesn't think that we should be toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapon so they can blow up the world. I'm not a fan of Pope Leo.
You could be the Pope and criticize him. It doesn't matter. He'll go after the Pope. You could be Putin and say nice things and he'll like you. It's not the content of your character. It's whether or not you show him respect and like him. To the Pope, you're a good holy man. You don't understand the evil of Iran. They're religious Nazis in the Catholic Church. God bless the Catholic Church. In the 30s, you didn't really get Hitler. To the Pope, you really don't get this religious Nazi regime, the Ayatollah and his henchmen. They are evil. They will kill all the Jews if we let them, and the Jewish people, one Holocaust is enough. Israel's going to fight to the last man to make sure that doesn't happen, and woman. So President Trump, you saved the world from this regime having 8 to 10 nuclear weapons. They would have used it. These people are nuts, and if you don't get that, it's like missing Hitler. Donald Trump, you saved the world from a nightmare, nuclear-armed Iran in the hands of religious zealots, nuclear weapons, which they would use. The Pope, you're a good man, but you got this all wrong. Trump is doing a good thing, not a bad thing. You're not going to talk the Ayatollah out of giving up his nukes. You're going to have to make him give up his nukes.
This is 100% political, okay? This is all about trying to hurt President Trump's Catholic vote during the midterms and Republicans during the midterms. If you look at play out the dots here, David Axelrod goes and visits.
Oh my
the
God,
Pope
the
last
arrogance
week.
of this.
Are
There's
you not
a
going to let me
billion
finish?
Catholics
Let
in
me
the world.
finish,
They're
please.
all worried
Let me
about Trump's
finish.
election
Are you
in the
gonna-
midterms.
Clearly,
All
I'm
right,
striking a chord here.
Let's let him finish the thought.
David Axelrod goes and visits Pope Leo last week. They're talking about Obama going to visit Pope Leo. Pope Leo's from Chicago. All of a sudden, now Pope Leo is out attacking Trump and the policies of the United States and Israel. In a way, well, in a much more forceful way. You have 3 cardinals come out today attacking the immigration policy. This is all about trying to get the Catholic vote against Trump. And let me add one more thing.
There's a lot of flaws in this argument.
They're going to succeed.
No, there's no
They're going to
flaws.
succeed.
There's no flaws.
Including that none of the things that you're
Axelrod is the
describing as
chief strategist for Obama.
He's also from Chicago, but
the
that's not
Pope
why
is
he
saying
went.
he's not political. Why is he meeting with the chief strategist for both Obama's campaigns and in the White House?
Pope
Oh,
France,
really?
hold on a second.
Would he have a possible reason to meet with a chief
hold on a
J.D.
second.
Vance met with the Pope
And
before the
Pope
last
Francis,
one died.
exactly.
What was
Pope
he doing
Francis
there?
met with J.D. Vance. Pope Francis was extremely critical.
J.D. Vance is Vice President of the United States.
Hold on a second. Pope Francis was extremely critical of Trump. He was extremely critical of the immigration rhetoric from Trump and his allies. He still met.
Let me add one more thing that
Vance.
Pope Leo's not critical
What's
of.
the conspiracy?
Let me ask you this.
What's
Why
the
has Pope
conspiracy?
Leo been, when Iran killed 30,000 plus of their own citizens, he didn't call out the Iranian regime at all. He said we need to stop violence. That was very milquetoast. That wasn't calling out the Iranian regime, and yet he's calling out the United States and Israel.
Let me let
War is never the solution. Jesus was a peacemaker.
But he didn't
Blessed
call out the
are
Iranian
the
regime.
peacemakers, he said. He's not taking sides in this. He's trying to live the gospel message and preach it.
This is
it's as fascinating.
simple as that. Dan Abrams, we've got to an extraordinary place. I mean, there's so many extraordinary things that have happened in the last 6 weeks, but the new Iranian president, Masoud Pezeshkian, posted today, His Holiness Pope Leo I condemn the insult to your excellency on behalf of the great nation of Iran and declare that the desecration of Jesus, a prophet of peace and brotherhood, is not acceptable to any free person. I wish you glory by Allah. I mean, when the Iranian president is racing to support an American pope, the first American pope, against an onslaught from the American president, who is the head of a party which historically has more Christian voters than any other in America. What is happening? Would you criticize Donald Trump for his attack on the Pope?
You know, I just don't care about this. What I would focus on is
as a Catholic,
the NATO Secretary General said
as a Catholic, you don't care about the American president launching an unprecedented verbal onslaught against the first American Pope. You don't care?
It's a distraction. It's a distraction. I just don't care.
But as a Catholic,
what I care
you
is
don't
that the
care?
NATO Secretary
I'm a
General
Catholic
says
sitting in London.
our world is
I care.
safer. Our world is safer because of the U.S. and Israeli action in
no
Iran.
disrespect, but just to repeat, you don't care?
I think it's a distraction. I said, look, I like
still
the Pope.
care
He's a little
about
too liberal
it.
for me. I expect him to speak out on war and peace. That's what popes do.
But you can still care.
He did enter the political debate, and this is the kind of thing that happens when you do that.
Your spiritual leader is described in the way that Donald Trump described him, and he's the first American Pope. Your only response is, I don't care?
Look, Trump trolls people. You know that better than anyone else.
But he's trolling your spiritual leader and mine. I care.
What I care about is that Trump is winning this war. The world is safer because an Islamist terrorist state is significantly weaker. And I think this war is going to wrap up in a couple of weeks. And I think there will be an uprising over the next few months when the bombing stops.
Do you want to bet on that?
Yeah, let's do it. I'll come back on your show if that happens.
Okay. How much do you want to bet?
$50.
$50. That probably represents... That probably represents your confidence in winning this bet.
It turns out Trump might have good reason to be jealous of Pope Leo.
Maybe President Trump is jealous of Pope Leo XIV because it is a blowout. Pope Leo XIV at plus 34. Look at where Donald Trump is at minus 12. It's not even close. It's a nearly 50-point blowout amongst the American public at large. Pope Leo XIV absolutely crushing President Trump when it comes to how popular they are, at least as of the last month. And I will note that Pope Leo was the most popular person tested by NBC News. I believe the president is making a humongous mistake going after the most popular guy in America, at least well-known guy. President Trump is struggling with American Catholics. Look at this. Maybe this is part of the reason why he's going after the Pope. U.S. Catholics on Trump. You know, you go back to November of 2024. Look at this. President Trump crushed Kamala Harris by 20 points. But down he goes into the Dead Sea. Look at this, minus 4 points. That's a nearly 25-point switcheroo in the wrong direction. Net approval rating among U.S. Catholics. U.S. military action against Iran, minus 10 points, quite negative. You think that's low, though? Come over to this side of the screen. Trump on Iran. Look at this. They're even more sour on Trump. 20 points underwater. So the bottom line is this. The Pope is emblematic of Catholics here in the United States. The Pope is far more popular with the American public than Trump is here in the United States. And Trump has been struggling with Catholics here in the United States, very much so, losing a lot of ground, as you see right here, a nearly 25-point switcheroo. And this ain't gonna help.
At this point, it feels like Donald Trump is exclusively trying to make life harder for the people who are going to be left behind to pick up the pieces once he finally dies. J.D. Vance is Catholic, and he's being forced to tell the Pope that he's wrong and should listen to the charlatan-in-chief on matters of morality. If Trump still has any faculties left, you know he's getting off on watching his administration sacrificing themselves to protect him. Conservative evangelicals fell over themselves to defend Trump's AI Jesus posts, or as he claims, a miracle glowing doctor depiction, and it's unsurprising. While Trump certainly makes a great boogeyman, it was Kevin Roberts' Heritage Foundation and other white Christian nationalist organizations who laid the groundwork and wrote the blueprint for this administration's fascist takeover of America. The more everyday Christians see how disconnected the actions of this administration are, not just from the Bible, but from basic human morality, the better. Donald Trump literally going after the Pope might at least serve to wake some people up.